Hello and welcome to the first episode of Podcast from a Hat. I'm your co-host, Mike Peckham, and I'm joined by my other co-host, Brandon Snodgrass. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you doing?
Just as good as 20 minutes ago when we first started talking and finally figured out our recording.
We had plenty of technical difficulties, but that's what first-time podcasts do. They work out the kinks.
Nailed it indeed. Yeah. So I guess we should take a second and explain what Podcast from a Hat is, as it is a new podcast.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's a fairly not a totally new concept, but something that doesn't already exist.
We'll figure it out once we start putting it out on the line.
Yeah. We'll find out. So you want to talk a little bit about kind of what our goals are here with Podcasts from a Hat?
Well, absolutely. So just as the name implies, we put together a bunch of different topics that we thought would be fun to talk about on a podcast, and then we picked one from a hat, and lo and behold, we have a topic. We each did our own individual research on it. Hopefully we didn't research too much of the same things, but we'll have enough.
At least.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's tons of overlap, which is
tons of overlap, but that's okay. As long as there's enough to fill out the podcast, we'll be okay.
It'll just be like it'll be like you're talking in those group circles, where somebody is like, you're supposed to share your own thing, and it comes to you, and you never had anything, but you're like, oh, they took my idea, so I'm gonna agree with Kelly over there in the corner.
Yeah. Kelly always takes all my ideas, really.
God, Kelly, the worst.
Oh. Yeah, so we're just going to go through, talk about the fun and interesting facts that we learned on the topic, it's not going to be the most useful of knowledge. It's not going to help anyone pass their
No
GED,
one knows that, Brandon.
But it will definitely be entertaining and fun and fill your brain with trivia knowledge.
It's definitely that's our goal. Help you out at your trivia, your bar trivia every week. But you don't know what it's going to be useful. That's the beautiful part. Is it's in the hat. Only the hat knows.
That's true.
Speaking of which,
that's the reason we put it in a hat, is to let the fates decide.
It's true. But we should get a more ceremonial hat. Right now we don't really have a real hat. We were just gonna use one of those.
Yeah, I was just gonna use my ball cap.
Yeah, and that we need something. Well, and that'll be fine for this week. Because I don't know if it was clear, but at the end of the episode, we're gonna pick the next week's episode, and that gives us, me and Brandon both, a week to figure out what we're gonna look at, and then bring you whatever useless tidbits we find.
Whatever we find. So
we go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole.
I went pretty deep on this one.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's good. I don't know how deep I went. I went fairly deep as far as the background, but then I started to kind of dive into one thing, and then I started to go off on two different mini tangents. But we'll get there.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, yeah. That's what this is all about. We're gonna see which path to Wonderland we each took.
That sounds creepy.
That does sound very creepy. But you know what? Hey, maybe we should get into it, Mike. You want to tell them what our topic for this week is?
Oh, I do. This week's topic, chosen by the podcast from a hat, which is Brandon's ball cap. We're going with deck of cards. Just decks, things related to decks of cards.
Decks of cards, playing cards,
shuffling,
all the accoutrements that comes with it.
Yeah. So anything sort of going with that. So to start with, let's do a little background with decks of cards. Decks of cards. Most say that cards probably started in the Tang Dynasty, around the 9th century A.D. There's your first trivia tidbit, which you can use to win.
And this is the century where they came up with astronauts.
Are you
because the Tang?
Because the Tang is it because the Tang? I was like, well, Brandon, the Chinese did discover rock. Oh, wait, hold on. You're doing Tang, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm 100% doing Tang.
There
if
you
you're
go.
ever in any doubt, Mike, it's always going to be the Tang.
It's always Tang. Oh, gosh. I've always been bad at 9th century. 9th century would mean that's like the years 800 through 899.
Correct.
Okay. So I guess I'm not that bad at centuries, but I'm not bad. I'm not confident in my knowledge of centuries.
Right. It's very easy to just jump and assume that that's the 900 to 999 though, because that's what everybody wants to do.
Yeah. So I'll try not to do that. I will screw it up at some point, and maybe I won't screw it up, but I won't say it with confidence, and you'll be able to tell from my voice.
Okay. Well, let's look forward to that.
So most cards at the time were made using woodblock printing. I don't know. Did you look at this?
I didn't.
Okay,
get that,
nice. Yeah,
that deep into the origins.
Yeah, I did. Well, I'm gonna keep diving in then. So woodblock, they would cut the relief pattern. So basically, just like a stamp.
Okay.
But it was called woodblock printing. And then when they would carve it, that is called xylography. But no.
Xylography.
I could be pronouncing that wrong, but I believe it's xylography. I don't think anyone still says that, so feel free to just delete that from your brain. But it was written down on my notes, so I thought I'd dive it in.
Or just tuck it into the back somewhere. You never know when you're going to need xylography.
Xylography, the active, and it's specific to woodblock carving in like the 9th century Asia. Like that's the only time you can use that word.
Well, I don't know. I mean, things make a comeback all the time, so you never know when xylography is going to be the next big hipster thing.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's what it probably already is. There's some shop in Portland that people like the xylographs.
Yeah,
gather
come
together.
Get your xylographs here. They got the street corner xylograph peddlers.
Always bumping into you on the street. But so what's interesting about this? So rather than just like a stamp where they would press it down or roll it on, they would put the block underneath the paper, put the paper on top, and then rub the back of it with leather like repeatedly. So it got this like really distinct look where the lines weren't like always. I don't know why they did the rubbing versus stamping. Like they didn't use printing. They didn't use like a press or anything with that. Even though presses did, I think, exist at that. I'm not confident in that. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% too familiar. We'll do another episode.
About printing press. Well, we'll toss that in there. Actually, as we talk, we should keep
stuff to
we need the list. We need the list.
That's true. Well, I have let's see. I got some notes on my phone.
I've got like 6.
Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 with the printing press. So nice. I had 6 before.
Cool. Oh, hey, that works out. So, and I guess what we should do is like put that list somewhere so that people could see what we're going to be choosing from, because it would get tedious over time to say each thing. Although special shout out to maritime law. Is maritime law in yours?
Oh no, I forgot.
Oh good, it's in mine, so don't worry.
Good. Oh good. Okay, good.
Yeah. Cool. But xylography, went over that. But William Henry Wilkinson, great guy, solid fella, suggests the first card may have been actual paper currency, which doubled as both the tools of gaming and the stakes being played for. Which means cards were first invented like both for playing games, so there was like no this is the iteration of cards that were playing games, and for illegal gambling. And we know this because the earliest dated instance of a game involving cards was when two delightful Chinese fellows, whose name I cannot say, were playing a game called, what did they say it was called? My Dao, I think. My Dao.
Not your Dao, my Dao.
My Dao, yeah. Just mine personally.
Exactly.
And the only reason we know that's specifically it and have some of the cards is because they were arrested, and the cards and the blocks used for the xylographic action of woodblock printing were both impounded.
Well, good.
So we still have some of them, and so that's what we know. Moving on.
This is all in the 9th century still?
Yes.
Man,
no!
Really
hold on.
Oh no!
Hold
on. I was gonna say you really got to hand it to those 9th century Chinese police, because they kept thorough records of their impound.
Oh man, file cabinets just going back years, centuries, in fact. No, this was in 1294, which would be the 13th century.
Yeah, you are.
Mike Peckham. Oh, you're frozen again. Oh no, it just got a little glitchy. We might have to suspend video although I mean the audio is still gonna go through just fine. So.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say when I froze last time, you couldn't hear me?
No, I couldn't hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Could you still hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that means it was my fault or your fault.
I don't know. I mean, you're coming in crystal clear on my side, so
I can hear you now. So.
Well, good.
Yeah, but
no, we're gonna get sued by Verizon.
We're not using Verizon. We're using Skype. We'll be sued by Microsoft.
No, but you were like, oh, I can hear you now.
Oh,
good.
Shoot. Yeah, they definitely have a trademark on that.
Well,
Although
he switched to Sprint.
He did switch to Sprint. Can that guy? I wonder how mad they were about that. Do you think they offered him? I'm sure Sprint offered him a bunch of money to do
apparently
that.
Apparently, it was a whole thing. Yeah.
So
I guess he was harassed not well by Verizon.
Ooh.
There's a whole other thing. I'd have to do some research, so maybe I'll do it as a side.
We can add that. No, we can add that one in. The Verizon, specifically the Verizon guy. That can be one of our
Verizon guy. Okay.
One of our hopefully shorter episodes.
Yes.
That we do. Anyways, so since we're still in the 13th century, I'm going to pick things up a little bit.
Okay.
Things moved to Egypt after Asia, and then to Europe for the illustrious life of the playing card, where there were a bunch of different styles. And the main ones that still survive today are Italian, Spanish, Swiss, German, and French. The playing cards that you are familiar with today, Brandon, are French playing cards.
That's true. That is very true.
So just like our fries, we get our cards from France.
That's true.
Ooh, add French fries to the list. I'm wondering. I don't. Although
you want to do some French fry research?
Well, I don't know if that one's.
I'll throw it on.
Okay, just put it in there. It's probably not that. It might be good. I don't know. That's the thing. Yeah. But the French cards were the first one to put a queen on there. And all the other ones, the face cards, once face cards developed over time, were all male. They were based on real people for most cards.
Yep.
But and even like the pictures and stuff. But the French were hashtag feminism, and
that's true.
Tossed the queen in there.
That's nice.
You
gotta love the French for tossing in the queen.
Yeah. Actually, what did?
So what did they have instead of the queen? Bishop.
Hold on. Oh, the knight. It was the knight. They had They had the knight. So it was the
king, the knight, the jack.
The king, the knight, and the jack. Interesting. Yeah. And then my last bit of slight trivia, as like historical trivia, as we're building this up, is the Joker. Because the Joker, for the longest time, most people say a 52 card deck, and the 52 card deck does not include the Joker.
That's true.
But the Joker, do you know when the Joker was first added to the playing card mix?
I couldn't tell you when. I could tell you why.
Ooh, okay. Tell me why, because hopefully
tell you why they added it as an extra trump card in the game Euchre.
Correct.
Which
is that how you say
I've never played. What's that?
Euchre.
Euchre, yeah, I've never played. I have I'm glad you said have plenty of people who I know play it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend, her whole family liked to play it, and she tried to teach me a couple times, and I don't know, something happened, and I never learned. But apparently, it's quite fun.
Okay, well, it was fun enough for the soldiers in the Civil War, because that was when they added the Joker in 18. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to edit this because I don't remember when the Civil War is. Civil War. Pay no attention, listeners. I remember the Civil War. Yes, from 1861 to 1865.
Yeah, I was going to say
as we all know.
That's true. Do you know what the Joker was originally called?
Ooh, I don't know.
So it wasn't originally called the Joker. They put it in, and it was the Imperial Bower, or the Best Bower.
What?
And then eventually, I don't know what a bower is.
Like a bower, like... how's it spelled? Is it like a guy who bows?
Sure. Bower. Bower.
Interesting. Maybe that's like maybe that that's the Joker. Jokers, they bow because a lot. What am I picturing of the artwork? Yeah, the artwork on a lot of the Jokers, they're bowing down, right?
My Joker's is the king on a bicycle because it's bicycle cards. I'm looking at him right now.
Oh, and it's not a Joker. It's the king.
No, it's a Joker, but it's the king. Here, I'll show you.
What?
It's the king, and he's riding a bicycle.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe, you know what? That's the Joker dressed up as the king. You know why? Because he's a Joker.
He's joking around.
So I just Googled Joker artwork, and all I got was Batman stuff. So
yeah, I can imagine. He's a pretty popular character. In fact, on my notes, I drew the Joker.
You know what? Shoot, I didn't even think of the Joker.
Why so serious?
I didn't even think of that as far as like things to research. I really just researched one main thing, and then I just kept going into that.
I like it.
Yeah,
getting deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah. So, listeners, this brings to an end more or less our history section.
Ooh, I don't know.
deck of
I've got
cards.
a little
Oh,
history.
you've got more?
On
You've got
mine.
more? Okay,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Listeners, this brings to an end my portion of the history of the decks of cards. I believe Brandon has some more.
I'll throw in a little history for you. Okay, so do you know about the original suits when they first brought about the suits? Not the suits that we know today, but the original suits.
I don't know the original. I know Germans that were hearts, bells, acorns, and leaves, but I don't know the original.
Absolutely, they were. I do have that one.
Okay, all right. That's the only one I got.
Okay, so before that, in the Middle East, the original suits were cups, coins, swords, and sticks. And then
cups, coins, swords, and sticks. How do you think they picked those?
I have no idea. I know the Germans picked theirs based on the different classes.
What do you mean, the classes of people?
Yeah, the classes of society. So they had the hearts, the bells, the acorns, and the leaves. The hearts was the church. Oh. The bells was the nobility. The leaves was the middle class, and the acorns was the peasants.
Why are the acorns the peasants? You could take that metaphor in quite a few different ways, you know.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's because sometimes the peasants had to eat acorns.
Oh, that's sad. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna dive into story time here for a second.
Come on.
Do you want all about? One of my most formative childhood memories of all time.
Absolutely, I do.
I had a friend. Let's call him. Well, his name is Ben Cornwall, and he. So let's call him that. And his dad.
Oh, Ben.
His dad. So he was a Boy Scout. I never did scouting and stuff, but his dad was like super big into Boy Scouts and would help out with all that stuff. He was great, but I was really excited, and I wanted his dad, to like me because I was over at his house for like one of the first. This might have been the third time I was over. We were playing outside, and I found this acorn, and all I knew was that Ben Cornwall's dad really liked nature, and this acorn, it was the first one I'd ever seen that had a little green thing poking out of it. Because at the time, I didn't know acorns were seeds. I just thought
they very much are.
Yeah, that's what falls off trees, and you can throw it at your sister. And the green knowledge, which I got in trouble for many times. But
yeah, absolutely.
So I took him this acorn really excited because I was like, oh, check it out. Check out what I found. And he didn't say anything to me. He grabbed it out of my hand. And then he kind of looks at it. I'm thinking like, oh, cool. He's impressed by it. He's looking at it. And then he peeled it and he ate it. Just like right there in front of me. And I just remember thinking, you ate my only acorn. I don't even know if there are any more of those that have the little green thing coming out of there. And I have this distinct childhood memory of him ruining it. Then I ran back outside and found like 15 more, so it was fine.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine him just crushing your hopes and dreams by eating an acorn in front of you.
Yeah, and he didn't even cook it. He just ate it. Which
I mean, I don't think you cook an acorn. How do you cook an acorn? It's not like you're going to flambe it.
No. You roast them. I've had roasted acorn. And you can mash them up and you make like acorn
nuts,
flour.
Yeah. Okay.
Like one of my favorite books as a kid, My Side of the Mountain. He made acorn flour pancakes. So the German class system.
Yeah, so they had the church, the nobility, the middle class, and the peasants were the acorns.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Nice. Now the French, they're the ones who came up with the suits that we know today, just like you were saying.
Yep.
They had the hearts, the diamonds, the clubs, and the spades, and those also correlated to different members of society.
That's different members. Interesting, because I saw that they were originally called hearts. Has always been hearts, but diamonds are sometimes called tiles. Clubs are sometimes called clovers, and spades are sometimes called pikes. Because I think the pike, that's supposed to be the thing that's like the pointy bit on top of a spear, right?
Right, exactly. That's what the spade is. Sometimes people call it, like a shovel.
Yeah,
it's not a shovel.
Not a shovel.
It's the pointy bit at the end of a spear, and that's they represent the knights. The spades.
That makes sense.
Hearts, take a gander.
Doctors, definitely doctors. All doctors.
No, still the church.
Oh god. Okay.
They're still the heart's still very much the church.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, diamonds, since they're also called tiles. Diamonds. That is the masonry. The masons. Since they lay tiles.
Not what I found.
No, okay, I was just kidding.
I didn't know that they were also called tiles.
Right.
They say the diamonds represent an arrowhead, and that is the bowman. Like on the ships and on the castle walls, at least from what I found. I mean, it didn't make the most sense to me.
So it's not classes. The French is not classes. That's like the roles of just like the people that
it's just different roles.
The people in their castle that have a job
right,
to
exactly.
do. Okay.
Exactly. And then the clubs are the clovers for the shepherds.
Okay.
Because they had fields full of clovers, I guess. Huh. That's what they say in what I researched. But you know what? I didn't do a lot of fact checking because I thought I was already checking the facts.
That's one thing. That's one thing we can promise you, listeners. We will do a minimal fact check. The first thing we read, we will relay to you.
Absolutely, we will. Let's see here. Okay, so I think that's enough. Like kind of ancient-ish history. We have some more modern history, but that's more fun fact stuff we can kind of get to in a minute. Kind of going back to, I guess this is a kind of ancient history-ish. You were talking about the face cards and how they represented different people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know the kings and who each of the kings represent? Because the queens and the jacks are kind of touch and go. Sometimes it's kind of finicky.
Yeah.
Like whether that it's definitively these people, but the kings are.
Oh, that's documented.
Yeah, that's most agreed upon as to who is whom.
I just thought it was just random people when whoever was making the cards at that time were like, King George III, he deserves this.
Well, probably that's how it started. But like the typical cards that we know today, like the ones used by like Bicycle and like the major manufacturers, they're supposed to represent. Like I said, at least the kings. There's 4 major kings that they represent.
Kanye West, 1.
Yes.
2. Sorry, he's the goat. Never mind. God.
He's really the goat. Got it. No, yeah. Lennon? No, he's the walrus.
Oh, like John Lennon, not like not Lenin.
No, not the Tsar.
Yeah, it's like I don't think that guy was well known for taking jokes about walrus that well.
No.
Okay,
no.
But
yeah. Okay, so
was John Lennon the walrus?
I think so, isn't he?
I don't know. Toss the Beatles on the list though. Let's add them. Let's add them in there. Yeah.
Let's throw them in the hat real quick.
Yeah. Sorry, not the list. Their name. Put them in the hat. We need to.
In the hat.
That's the phrase we got to use. Yeah, put them in the hat.
We'll get it. Yeah. They're in the hat. All right, Beatles. Consider them in the hat.
They're in.
All right.
I consider them in the hat.
We've got 2 pre-Christian kings and 2 post-Christian kings.
Interesting.
Let's see. We've got a Greek, a Roman, a Holy Roman, and a pretty obvious one, a king of Israel.
Ooh.
Let me see if you can guess any of them. You don't.
I have to guess like the actual people. Oh,
just guess. Just guess 4 like famous like kings/rulers.
I can't think of any famous king. Okay.
All right. I'll give you. One's a big conqueror from Greece.
Guy with the elephants. Zeus.
No. Yep, it's Zeus. No.
That's him. You can tell because of the lightning on the card.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was curious about the lightning. No, the King of Clubs is said to represent Alexander the Great.
That's who I was gonna say. Yeah,
that's true. I should have given you what is it, Colin Farrell, right?
What?
Wasn't he Alexander?
I have no idea.
I think there's a movie.
It's not often that I'm scrolling. I don't scroll through Netflix and be like, "Ooh, Alexander the Great. I should watch that one." That's not on my list.
I think it's just called Alexander, but whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, King of Diamonds was Julius Caesar.
Okay.
King of Hearts was Charlemagne.
Oh.
And the King of Spades is King David of Israel.
Okay, see, I was hoping Israel, King of the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right, cool. King David, that makes sense. Interesting. How come they're all, how do I put this? White guys.
Because that's the way that it's printed. It's a lot easier to print them as white, I think.
That's true.
I'm sure you can buy. I'm sure you can get a specialty set of cards.
Historically accurate.
Yes.
Faced playing cards. Okay. All right.
It would not surprise me if that is why that is.
Yeah. All
right, and probably the last bit of kind of not modern history that I've got is about the Ace of Spades. Did you research anything about that?
Ace of Spades. Oh, the one thing that I saw was with Vietnam.
Oh, okay, that's a different thing.
Oh, okay.
But
are you getting into that one later?
Before that, do you know why the Ace of Spades is the most like ornate and like special card in the deck?
Because it's... No.
No? Okay.
I was trying to think of any lyrics that come after because I'm the ace of spades.
Oh, okay.
And I got nothing. I got
You got
nothing.
nothing?
I got
That's
nothing.
all right.
I can't even remember who sings that right now. Is that AC/DC?
I was going to say Metallica, but it might be AC/DC.
No, I think you're right. I think it's Metallica. Hold on. Ace of spades. I'm not Googling this. I'm typing.
No, you're not. You're typing.
Oh, it's Motorhead.
Oh, Motorhead. You know what? You're right.
Yeah. If
you can tell that because you said it.
Yeah. If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some. It's all the same to me. The pleasure is to play. Makes no difference what you say. I don't share your greed. The only card I need is Queen of Clubs.
The Ace of Spades.
Oh,
dang it.
Yeah. They started out the Queen of Spades. No, that's not it. No,
that's
yeah.
Something.
7 of Diamonds. Just in it.
We need something a higher trump card, I think.
Oh man. Okay. No. So keep going.
Okay. So
I interrupted you with my.
The reason that the Ace of Spades is the most ornate and fancy-looking card in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to Europe in the 16th century, which is what years?
16th, 15s. They start with 15.
Yeah, they do start with 15.
Mike Beckham, great at centuries. Say what you will about Mike.
Say about Mike Beckham. He is great at centuries. So, in the 16th century, there was a tax to manufacture playing cards in Europe.
Ooh.
And so the reason that, or the way that they checked to see if you had paid the tax was they had to put a stamp on a card. And so they always picked the Ace of Spades because it had the most white space on there for them to stamp.
Wait, why?
Right? And so you would have
tax?
because they had to tax something.
They tax playing cards that people already own?
No, they tax the manufacturing of playing cards.
That makes more sense. I was just picturing like people sitting around playing cards and like somebody kicks down their doors like, "Hey, let me see your stamp." Some guy runs in there, he gives him like $10, stamps the card. All right. Continue your game.
Get out of here.
Continue your game of solitaire.
Solitaire. Or one guy sitting alone.
Pinochle. Whatever you're playing.
Bridge.
Hearts. Spades. Yeah.
I love spades.
Do you prefer spades over hearts?
I don't think I've ever actually played hearts.
Isn't
but
hearts?
I do enjoy me a lot of spades.
If I remember correctly,
mm-hmm.
Hearts is spades, but
mm-hmm.
the trump suit is different.
Yes.
It might be.
It's hearts, I think.
Well, I think it changes.
Hearts,
I think it changes.
You play, yeah. I think also in hearts you play for just yourself, whereas spades you have a partner.
Hearts is I do like spades.
I do like spades. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
okay.
So they stamped the Ace of Spades because it had the most white space of any card. So you'd have your single spade in the middle, and then they'd put this ornate stamp around it to make it look real fanciful. So that's why they continue with it today. And back then, the Ace of Spades was also known as the hanging card because if you were caught forging a stamp proving that you paid the tax, they would hang you.
They would hang you?
Yeah.
So many things in olden times, 16th century, I don't know, would result in just death. Like, didn't pay your card tax. There's no middle ground. Like, that's a fine and 10 days in jail. It's either you're fined or you're hung.
Off with not paying their taxes, that's a slippery slope, Mike. You gotta draw a hard line in the sand. So that is why the Ace of Spades is so fancy, because they started out with a stamp and then they just made it, kept on trucking with it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you researched. You said you found the Vietnam little fact about the Ace of Spades. Yeah,
that just the superstition of the Vietnamese soldiers. They thought the Ace of Spades, was it unlucky, or did they think it was like a symbol of death?
I read that they thought it was a symbol of death.
Symbol of death, right? Okay, and then so U.S. government, I think, asked playing card manufacturers just to print them a bunch, right?
Yeah, they printed like entire decks.
Yeah.
Of just Ace of Spades, and then they sent it overseas
and just dropped them out of planes, right? Or was it just soldiers would play with them and leave them places?
I think the soldiers would leave them like on like soldiers' bodies and stuff.
Ooh.
To like
just to scare them,
to freak them out. But then I also found something else that said it was just a myth. But it the soldiers believed in it, and so it improved morale. So it did something.
Oh, you mean you're not saying you're saying it did happen. You're just saying
right. It did happen, but it was. But
soldiers may have not actually. Okay.
Right. Exactly. I mean, but who knows? Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Maybe the reason we think it's a myth is because they were kind of like, oh no, we didn't think that, but they really did. It
could be that, or were they just going around confused? Now I'm making a Vietnam War joke. Is that? Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. It's not even really a joke per se. Do you think they were just like, because if it was a myth, like, why does every time they just leave a card, and it's always the ace of spades? Like, I don't get it.
Maybe
I just don't get it, and they're wandering around confused.
Maybe they thought it was some kind of weird American tradition that we put.
After you murder someone, you give them the old ace of spades.
Yeah, instead of putting the coins on their eyes, you just give them the ace of spades. It's like a credit card.
Yeah.
Instead of
that's the
ferryman
thing.
with coins.
Well, no, because of the first cards, as we now know, were
that's true. Currency.
Also currency. There you go.
That is neat.
Yeah, it was just the American soldiers being kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's steer away from the Vietnam War.
Okay, well, not to completely change shifts, but how about we go to World War II?
Ooh, even better.
World War
II, that's got a much more clear, like, as America, we very much felt we were in the right there. And...
Yeah. We were.
Yeah.
We were. Yeah. So here's the thing about World War II. Some very interesting things with playing cards. Are you familiar with a spotter deck?
I am not.
Okay, so a spotter deck, they would send over to the soldiers, and the cards would have different pictures of, enemy aircrafts, enemy tanks, enemy ships, and stuff like that. And they would be
them learn.
To help them identify. Like, if you see something off in the distance and you don't know if it's friendly or, whatever, or if it's, like just a scout plane or like a bomber plane or whatever, you'd have your little deck. You'd go through, you'd find the matching card, and you'd know what it is.
So as the plane is barreling down on you, you're supposed to riffle through all 52 cards. Like, oh shoot. Ooh, we're good.
That's true. Or maybe you could just study them in the off time.
It's probably safer.
Now this one, they confirmed it's true, but it seems a little crazy to me. Okay. This seems a little James Bond to me.
Ooh.
So this was also in World War II.
Okay.
And Bicycle manufactured cards that they sent over to American POWs.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how that works.
Okay.
I mean, I know you have to take care of POWs a certain way, but I don't know how we were able to get them cards. Yeah. But anyway, these cards, they were just regular playing cards. They had regular... numbers and face cards on them.
Wait, but was it Christmas? Because then they just shipped them in those little shoe boxes.
Oh, maybe.
There you go. That's how that works.
Maybe.
They've been doing that since the dawn of war.
That's true.
Yeah.
So they were regular cards, but when the cards got wet, they peeled apart, and you put them together, and it formed a map of the area that would help the POWs escape.
Ooh.
How tricky is that? Like, that's some next level stuff that happened on an old level.
But did they know that going in, or do you think they were just supposed to find out? Because obviously they were often kept in terrible conditions, and like their cards would get wet, and they'd just be like, oh, a clue. And
I think they would have to figure it out on their own, unless there's like a note in there that had some kind of, again, secret message. It was like, hey, get these cards wet.
Or was it, please make sure to not get these cards wet. Definitely don't get them wet.
Right.
And reassemble them. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's not good for them.
Yeah, exactly. So
the best kind of secret code, reverse psychology.
Yep, works every time.
Every time.
Went right over the Germans' heads. They're very serious, those guys. They didn't understand.
Very practical.
Very austere.
Very practical people. You were thinking of the Austrians. Ew.
Touche.
Oh goodness. Okay. How many more like main topics do you have?
Because I've just got
one.
And I got one more main topic, and then like 2 fun facts.
Ooh. Okay. All right. You want to do your main topic, and then we'll do my main topic, and then do fun facts.
I'll hit some fun facts.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go into your main topic.
Let's go to the main topic. The main topic here is about the different amount of possibilities there is when shuffling a deck.
Ah, yes.
It's 52 factorial. For those of you who don't know,
one of the most excited numbers because it has.
Yes. because it's got an exclamation point.
Uh-huh.
So the total number of cards that you could get when shuffling a deck is 52 times 51 times 50 times 49, all the way down to 1.
Which
and
actually,
that is
just for me, could we now, from now on, instead of saying that or 52 factorial, could we just say 52 really excited, and then we'll all know. Exactly.
52!
52! You know, if we're just saying 52, that's just 52. But 52, that's...
52!
You know what that is.
Okay. You know what it is.
Yep.
All right. That's that little punch.
Yep.
So it turns out it's, let's see, it's about 8.066 times 10 to the 67th, which basically means it's 8 with 67 zeros after it.
Interesting.
Which is a lot of zeros. Now, I know you're like, oh, that doesn't seem like too much. Basically, if you counted every second from the time we know that the universe was created until now, you wouldn't even begin to dent this number. It is that ginormous. From the creation of the universe millions of years ago to right now, you wouldn't even begin to touch that number. So I did some fun little research about it, and I found an essay about a guy, and he found a couple of really creative ways to kind of demonstrate this number and how big it is.
Yeah.
So let me this is my favorite one here. Okay, so if you set a timer to 8.06 times 10 to the 67th, if you set a timer to 52.
Actually, hold on, let me see if my timer will go up to that.
I highly doubt it would.
Okay, well, let's just give it the old college try here. How many times are we going to have to hit 0?
67.
67 times? All right.
Yeah.
And so you said 8.
If you turn it sideways, it should become a scientific calculator, and you could put it in scientifically.
I'm not doing that. I'm going straight to the timer. I'm not.
Oh, okay. Oh, righteous timer.
Ooh, I'm using an iPhone, and you got to scroll.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's too much.
Here we go. Oh, no, the most you can do is 24 hours on an iPhone. Oh, excuse me.
Really?
23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds.
Oh. Well, that is unfortunate.
That is...
iPhone, what if I need a timer for 4 days?
Yeah.
Come on. Or,
well, you should probably use an
52
alarm.
seconds.
Yeah, 52 seconds. You should probably just use an alarm like a normal human, you know?
Yeah, there's fun in that.
Oh. Ooh. Hold on.
Okay.
I just thought of something. I'm just gonna try this and see what...
Jump it in.
Hey, Siri, what is 52 factorial?
The answer is a 68-digit number beginning with 8065.
I was really hoping she was going to say the whole thing. And then we could listen to that, but that's a pity. All right, go ahead.
All right. So so what you're going to do, you're going to pick your favorite spot on the equator.
My personal favorite spot on the equator?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, I got to go into Google Maps and really find the... Because if I don't actually know if this spot is truly on the equator, and I don't want to look as stupid as I did with the old century debate there.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Glad to see we're finally doing our research.
It's true. Okay, there's the dotted line. Oh, glad I did that.
Yeah.
Not even close. I was hundreds of miles off. I will not tell you what country I thought was along the equator. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll go, it's not exactly on the equator, but it's pretty close. We'll go Quito.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your spot, okay?
Yep.
So you're on your spot, and you have your timer set.
Okay, got
for 52 seconds.
Got it.
And it's going to count down. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk around the Earth.
Okay. Done.
And you're going to take one step every billion years.
Oh, I already did it. Wait, what? Just only once every...
One step every billion years. Okay?
Do I get to bring a book or a movie or something?
Sure. Bring a deck of cards with you.
Ah, there you go. Good. Shuffle them up, too.
Yeah, exactly. So once you take one step every billion years, when you walk all the way around the Earth, you're going to take
23,700 miles? I didn't Google that, folks. I could be right.
That's right off the dome. You can double check it if you want.
I think I'm close. Yeah. I'm not right, though. I'm close.
No, definitely double check that, because that would be very impressive. That was right off the dome.
Circumference of the Earth. Now everyone knows how slowly I type.
That's all right. That's just a little fun fact.
Ah, it was close. 24,901 miles.
Oh, that was very close. Yeah. Okay, so once you walk all the way around the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take one drop out of the Pacific Ocean, and then you're going to do it again.
Hold on. Where am I going to put that drop?
Just take it out.
Just out.
Just take it out.
Like,
so
just keep it with me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then you continue your quest around the Earth. Taking one step every billion years.
Gosh.
And then every time you go around the Earth, take out a drop. Ugh. When the Pacific Ocean has been drained, you put one sheet of paper on the Earth. Just one sheet of paper.
Wait, hold on. I'm still hung up on the what have I done with all the water?
You're putting it in a special container somewhere else.
That
holds the contents of the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, and are they saying just the Pacific Ocean, or
yes.
is the Pacific, because the Pacific Ocean, as we all know, is kind of connected to all the other oceans? They're kind of arbitrary.
No, we're saying
just the Pacific.
If you take basically what they estimate to be the volume of the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, cool.
One drop at a time.
Nice.
Every time you go around the Earth.
Put it in your special container.
Put it in your special container, and then when you drain the Pacific Ocean,
yep.
Put one sheet of paper on the Earth.
Done.
Okay, you got it? You there in your mind?
I have.
Okay.
I'm there.
Okay, put all the water back, and then you got to do it all again until that stack of paper that you've created reaches the sun.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Still going at a rate of one step every billion years.
Why did we choose paper? It'll burn up.
Well, this is special magic paper.
Oh, magic paper.
So let's say you have done all that. You've taken one step every billion years. Mm-hmm. You've drained the ocean every time. And every time you've drained the ocean, you put a sheet of paper down, and that stack of paper has reached the sun.
Yeah.
When you have finished all that, you will still have 8.066 times 10 to the 67th. The first three numbers will not change.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. You would have to do that cycle about 3,000 times before the timer finally counted down.
Oh, God.
That's a big number.
That is a very big number. And that's if I shuffle the cards perfectly,
mm-hmm.
That's how many different combinations there are of orders for those decks of cards. We're not even talking in jokers there. That'd be 54.
No. Exactly. No, that's just the 52.
Man, that is...
So when people say that you're never going to shuffle the cards the same way twice, yeah, they're probably right.
Wow.
Like, even if you counted...
I thought I had a pretty good approximation in my mind of how big that number was, but that illustration...
Really? Yeah, that really...
both helped and disturbed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yep. There's another one. I didn't write it down. See if I can remember it off the top of the dome. I'll go a little bit quicker on this one.
Yep.
So every billion years, deal yourself 5 cards.
Okay.
When you deal yourself a royal straight flush, buy a lottery ticket. When the lottery ticket wins the lottery...
I hate this one more. Oh, dear.
Yeah. When the lottery ticket wins the lottery...
How big is the Powerball?
It doesn't matter.
It matters to me, Brandon.
It is 8.06 times 10 to 67.
Oh, then I'm in. Then I am in.
Exactly. So every time you win the lottery, throw, I want to say, a grain of sand into the Grand Canyon. And then when you fill the Grand Canyon, take a rock away from Mount Everest.
Oh, no.
And you just keep doing that cycle over and over and over again.
They keep picking the things in my mind that I think of as big.
Yeah, they're real big.
They just know it. And now they're not. They don't seem big anymore.
It's super big.
Everything feels small. You know what? I feel like I could climb Mount Everest now. It's smaller. It's smaller than 52. So I can.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do whatever I want.
You could go climb Everest who knows how many times before somebody shuffles cards back into itself.
That's true. Back into itself. Oh, I see.
Back into its same order.
Same order. Okay, I got it. Yeah. I wasn't there, but I'm there now.
Yeah. So nice. 52. 52.
52.
Big number.
It is a big number. 52 is a very normal number.
Yes.
I like it. Well done. Cool.
All right. What is your main topic?
My main topic, I was looking around at some different things, and I thought, what do I want to do? I looked at some magic tricks and stuff. I was trying to find history of magic, doing some of that.
Yeah.
And, there were some interesting things, but nothing I really wanted to focus on. And then I thought of it. Cheating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is very fun.
Cheating, right? Yeah, and so there were a bunch of different examples of like ways that different people cheat, and like through history how people cheat, which you should totally go look up because there's some good stuff.
Yeah, well, you're gonna teach me about it.
No, I'm not gonna teach not the history ones. I'm focusing on Edward Thorpe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Edward Thorpe.
Just on Edward Thorpe.
That's a powerful name.
Yeah. And he was, let's see, in 1960s, the 1960s, he started looking at how blackjack was played, and the ways that he was just thinking like, oh, I wonder, what are my real odds here? Like, what's the best way that I can do this? Which, if you were to draw that out and do it by hand, would take you forever to try and figure all that out. So he was using a computer at the time. He was specifically using an IBM 704. And the 704 at that time was often regarded as pretty much the only computer that could handle complex math. Like, everything else could do some additions, they could do some subtractions, sure. Right. But for the kind of formulas that he wanted to figure out, he got some time on this research computer because he was an MIT professor, I think. Yes, he was. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, shoot, I've seen the movie 21.
I was going to say,
guy. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because all of Hollywood is bullshit. Sorry, excuse me. Based on a true story.
Good.
No. Actually, the 2021, that wasn't a real... It was a real story in that some MIT students did that. But there was no professor involved. They were doing that, as well as... I think there were some faculty members from some other colleges, or people who had graduated from other colleges. It wasn't just MIT folks. But those students, there was a main core group of students there that did do that. But anyways, what were we talking about? 704.
Talking about Edward Thorpe.
Edward Thorpe, right. Yeah, so he's using the IBM 704, comes up with this formula so that he can figure out the optimal way to play blackjack where he can win money. And he's not sure if he's got it right, even with the IBM 704's 38-bit accumulator, 36-bit multiplier quotient register, and the 3 15-bit index registers. I don't know what those are. I was initially going to look up and be like, oh, I wonder how much RAM it had. That would be a fun fact to say. Didn't have any because it has accumulators, multiplier quotients, and index registers. So not a lot. But so basically, Thorpe decided he wanted to test this in practice, rather than just like, I'm sure he like had his wife deal him some cards or something, and was like, you know what, this seems to work. But anyways, he got this guy to bankroll him, professional gambler at the time. Was
it Kenny Rogers?
It was not Kenny Rogers. That would have been great. No, I'll tell you who it is later, but I'm going to tell you in the order that I figured it out, or that I learned it, because I was very disappointed when I figured it out. And I'll tell you why. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm still very excited.
It's like 3 sentences away. Don't even worry. We're pretty close. But anyways, Thorpe, he got $10,000 from this guy, this wealthy professional gambler, and they went to Reno and Lake Tahoe, where they were like, all right, well, we'll just test it out. And in the one night, he made like $11,000, which, you're thinking like, oh, he started with $10,000, then like $11,000 on top of that. He didn't just make $1,000. It was like, it's perfect,
Works every time.
Yeah. No, and because that's the thing when you're counting cards like this, you are. Have you ever looked into counting cards and kind of what it takes?
I've seen the movie 21.
You've seen, okay, so you know.
I've seen Rain Man.
Well, there you go. Counting cards. I'm not gonna try to do a Rain Man impression. I'm not.
That's all right.
No. So when you're counting cards, you're basically trying to keep track of how favorable the deck is to you. So when low cards get dealt out, you're like, okay, the deck is probably a little more favorable for certain scenarios, because now it's more likely that some high cards are going to come out because of the way blackjack is played, where you don't shuffle like between every single time, as you're talking about with the 52 different combinations. It's going from this one deck or a bunch of decks stacked together, but all shuffled and placed.
Back then, did they have multiple decks, or did they play from one deck?
I'm not sure. I did some looking into that. I think when it first started, they just used one deck, and then they would add decks as they realized that, like, okay, we can play for longer this way, and it's harder to count cards.
Right.
But I know that they've changed something. They changed something about the way that they shuffle. As the deck gets low, like after a certain point, casinos will now shuffle, because it just gets way too easy if you know how to count cards. To just know, like, oh, I'm probably gonna get a king here, and just be ready to go. So And basically what it does, you're kind of ranking in a super simplistic sense. You're ranking that deck as favorable or not favorable. So certain cards give you like, oh, that's a +1 for the deck. That deck's now like a +3 in my mind. Like, ooh, I should put more money down. It's more likely I'm going to get the card I need. Or it subtracts and you get, -1 and so the deck becomes less favorable over time. And so it'll shift back and forth kind of as you're playing, and you keep track of all this and know when to put money down. So it's purely playing the odds. You're not going to win every single time. You're going to win incrementally and slowly. And so that's why, the $11,000 was like, hey, we got this. But here's the weird thing. So a lot of times, especially like famous cheaters, the couple ones I looked into, like they would figure out something to do and then do it for like 3 or 4 years or a couple months at least before the casinos figured it out. And they would always put on like different disguises and, like wear a wig and wear glasses and stuff so that nobody would recognize them, so they could go back to the same couple casinos and keep taking them for the cash. But this guy, like I think he only did it a couple times once he realized that it worked, and then he was like, well, I'm going to publish a book. And so he wrote the book Beat the Dealer in 1966, which is often considered the original card counting manual. So if you want to go make $11,000 off of $10,000, feel free to download that ebook, toss it on your Kindle, and or you can go out and buy a physical copy, like someone who was born in 1933. That's when Edward Thorpe was born, I think.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Definitely 30s. I'm not sure exactly when, but yeah. So rather than like make a bunch of money from that, he just wrote a book, sold a bunch of copies, and then made a bunch of money, legitimately.
Yeah, why not?
So he still got rich, but he did it without people, casinos hating him for this one simple trick. But no,
I'm
so
sure they still hated him, because I'm sure plenty of people read the book, and well, you got to think, for everybody that read the book, not everybody is going to be able to do the mental math to count the cards.
And there's different levels of it. Like you can do the most basic one I was talking about, where you're like, hey, this deck's +3, +4, like, or there's really more complicated ones where you memorize a bunch of patterns and keep track of all the cards that have come and really know exactly what's coming up. And I believe that's the Rain Man strategy. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could probably do that.
It was one of the first specialty title books to earn its place on. I think it was one of the first, but it's definitely is one of the few specialty title books to earn its place on the New York Times bestseller list. So it's just for that one particular category, and tons of people got it. And then here's the next sentence that confused me. It said, "Much to the chagrin of Kimmel, whose identity was thinly disguised in the book as Mr. X." And before I remembered, oh, this was 1966, I was like, oh my goodness, Jimmy Kimmel is related to this somehow. It's not Jimmy Kimmel. He would have been -1 years old at the time. It's Manny Kimmel. Manny Kimmel was the man who lent him the $10,000.
Gotcha.
For that. But I was just picturing Jimmy Kimmel's stand-up routine.
It's Jimmy's uncle.
For a brief, beautiful little window of Jimmy Kimmel being mad at this guy for writing a book for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and so his blackjack research is one of the very few examples where results from academic research, because he was an MIT professor and this was an academic study about gambling, and it's one of the only times that all that data and the process that he did went directly to the public that didn't get a peer review process. And he is on record as saying the whole thing was an academic exercise, wasn't trying to make money. Doing air quotes there.
Well,
and now, fun fact, Thorpe plays the stock market and averages a 20% return. So he's got something.
Imagine,
He's got something figured out as far as statistics.
He's wired the right way for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then my one little fun fact is that do you know most common playing card material? Paper, obviously. Yeah. But you know the coating that's on it? It's like some sort of waxy plastic thing, right?
Right. Yeah. What about it? Casinos
don't use that same
coating?
paper, that same coating. They use I think it might be a very specific type of plastic, but they definitely use plastic cards for two main reasons. One, they're better for constant handling, and that way they're not going to break down, so they don't have to buy cards as often. And two, they're super hard to write on. casino cards are really, really hard to run with pencils
okay.
or pens or anything. So it's harder for somebody to like wear a ring that has a little marker thing in there and mark the cards that way, and do that. So yeah, that's my fun casino playing card tidbit.
That is a fun casino playing card tidbit.
Yeah. So next time you're in a casino, stop in, break out your pens, pencils, bunch of different kinds.
Sharpies. Yeah.
Sit down at the blackjack table and just start drawing all over the cards and see what happens. Let us know how that goes.
They love it. It's like what is it? It's like Macaroni Grill, where you can draw on the tablecloth.
Yeah.
You just go in there, you just draw on the blackjack table, you draw on the cards, you draw on the dealer. You know,
Hey, this is like Macaroni Grill, right? Excuse me? I'm gonna go ahead and draw on all your stuff. Yeah, it's fine.
Don't worry, I brought a Sharpie.
It's okay. I brought my own.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, mercy. Okay, so you got some fun tidbits?
I have 2 fun facts that are kind of just like one fun fact, really.
Okay.
It's just how playing cards themselves relate to time.
Okay.
Well, obviously there's 52 cards, and we have 52 weeks in our general recognized year. You know, that's a fun fact.
Cool.
But what's even more fun, some would say funner, is if you added up the values of all the cards plus 1 for the Joker, it equals 365.
I'm mildly impressed by that. I'm less impressed because you have to include the Joker.
Well, here's the thing, though. You know, most decks you have a big Joker and a little Joker.
Okay.
So what I was thinking was you add the big Joker all the time, and then every now and again you'll throw the little Joker out. Like, let's say once every 4 years, and then it'll be 366.
Oh, so it's even better than they originally thought. You've figured out the even better. Dude,
that's just what I like to throw people a bone every now and again. So get that little Joker in there.
Okay, so now it's we've hit that point in our episode where we are selecting. We're reaching into the hat and we're pulling out the next week's topic from the list, which is available to view if you'd like to go on to our website at www.tobedetermined.com and view the list right there.
We'll keep you updated. Oh, mercy.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. So just so you know what we're randomly picking from this week, we could get just a sample here: TV judges, things you're using wrong, maritime law, pseudoscience, magic tricks, like grand illusions specifically, like stage illusions, movie curses, Craigslist, time travelers, banjos, the printing press, the Beatles, French fries, helmets, and time travel in movies.
So very wide variety of topics, but I think that keeps it interesting. I don't want to keep learning about the same thing over and over and over again.
No.
Absolutely not. I want to expand my knowledge, outwards,
and
not upwards.
Brandon, outwards, not upwards, only outwards.
I want to learn about lots of different things on the horizon. I don't want to keep stacking up onto the same topic. You know what I'm saying? Is that tracking?
So your business verticals you want to be
exactly
not vertical. You want them to be
expansive.
Horizontals. So you want synergy.
I want to expand, not stack.
I got nothing. Yeah. Cool. So, and just so you know, listeners, not you. Sorry, Brandon.
That's okay.
You are welcome to go on to our website at www.tobedetermined.com and submit your own topics for us to discuss, which will be tossed in, and which may be tossed in, because if you give us a terrible thing, we do not guarantee we're going to put in every topic.
Right, exactly.
But we'd like you to submit them.
Right, exactly. Not to say that if yours doesn't go in, it's terrible. It's just maybe we thought there wasn't enough to talk about.
Or it could be that the idea you submitted was terrible.
That is also true. Or maybe somebody else submitted it. Who knows?
That's true.
Maybe we already talked about it, even though you'd have one thing taking you down from that list, which would be decks of cards.
Yeah, so far. And in the future, if you're listening to this and you've gone back to our first episode and you're thinking, wow, this was shit, feel free to just control F that list and see if the topic's already on there and you still want to submit it. Anyways, it is now time for our random selection. So, Brandon, if you would grab the hat.
I got the hat.
Nice.
Right here.
Okay.
Cool. Can I get a little drum roll or a little action music?
Yeah.
Put
you know what?
In here?
We will add in. Stay tuned. Here it comes, and here comes the podcast. Podcast from a hat. hat selection music. It's podcast from a hat. Here's the hat. So
here's the hat.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's like Dora the Explorer. I'm the map. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the hat gonna pick? Let's pick something from the hat. And the bass kind of go like. Cool. Okay, so Brandon, just dig around in there.
Right. You dig around in here real quick.
Nice.
Alrighty, this one? Nope, not that one.
Well, you can't do that.
This one. I just did that.
Okay.
I just did that.
All right, listeners, we will never do that again, I promise. All right.
Oh, I'll do it. It's my hat, my rules.
And survey says?
Here? TV judges.
TV judges.
Oh, okay, so we're thinking Judge Judy, right?
Yeah, Judge Judy, Judge Joe Brown.
You gotta get Judge Joe Brown.
Are those still on? I don't know if is Judge Judy still on TV. I'm gonna be so disappointed if she's not. You know what? We don't know. Don't worry, but we're gonna find out next. Tune in next week to find out if Judge Judy is still on television.
Don't check your TV guides or give it a quick Google. You need to come back next week.
TV guides. Let you know. Oh man, if you're still using a TV guide, thank you, 80-year-old listeners for tuning in. And now you can turn back on the television and get back to your stories.
Tell your grandkids you're done with the podcast. They need to come back and take care of you.
Oh goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
that's gonna do it.
Yeah, for this episode of Podcast from a Hat. But make sure to tune in next week for TV Judges.
All righty, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed.